I'll get right to the point. To find Quetzalcoatluses, go to the top left of the map and fly in a zigzag pattern. If you do this correctly, you'll find at least 3 wild Quetzalcoatluses. We ended up spending a lot of time searching for high-level spawns on Twitch livestream. I want to share what I learned in the process. I'll explain how specific game mechanics work, which will help you conduct the searches more efficiently. If you want to see the actual process on how to find Quetzalcoatluses and where, you can skip ahead to this part of the video. Franklin, run program. Hello survivors, I'm your host King Dogspeed and welcome to this episode of Ark Survival Evolved. By understanding the concepts covered in this video, it should help you find most any creatures in Ark, not just Quetzalcoatluses. I'll put links to the Ark Wiki articles in the description of this video about the subjects we will talk about, so check them out for more details. My friends and I play on one of the rare time capsule servers, where it's perpetually 2015. It's before the major game nerfs and a lot of the new features. Many of the mechanics are classic experience, almost exactly the way the game was when it first came out. The game is by default set to spawn animals ranging from level 1 to a maximum of level 30, and by increasing the difficulty settings, which most servers commonly do, the maximum wild level dinos increase. In 2015, the official difficulty was set to 2, which is what we also have. Therefore, in our server, dino levels range from level 1 to a maximum of level 60. You will also see things like faster flyer speeds, but the core game mechanics should still be the same and relevant even today. So, what are Quetzalcoatluses? According to the Ark Wiki, Quetzalcoatlus have a very specific role on the island. Too slow to be an efficient local transport, and too weak to be an effective warbird, the tribes I have encountered tend to employ it as a mass carrier. Quetzalcoatlus is primarily used by these masters of the skies to safely carry vast quantities of supplies, creature, and human cargo from one base to another without tiring. So why do you need to look for them? Well, Quetzalcoatluses, they're my favorite kind of animal in Ark. I wanted to have one that I can use as a flying home base. We ended up finding a bunch of high-level Quetzalcoatlus for a breeding project to create one with very high overall stats, the perfect Quetzalcoatlus. How close do we need to be to a Quetzalcoatlus to find it? One of the most important game mechanics is the view distance for Ark Survival Evolved, which is also related to a mechanic called stasis. Stasis, according to the Ark Wiki, is an Unreal Engine mechanic which stops the code loop for actors, which are structures and dinosaurs, that are not actively doing something and are not near any players. This means that if you are far away from a dino, time stops for that dino. You can also not see that dino that is far away, as it disappears and freezes until you or some other player goes near them. I did an experiment and saw that the actual in-game view distance is right around 230 meters. This distance is approximately 1/4 the size of a square on the map. Where do you find them? So the TLDR for that is anywhere. When I first started this project, I didn't really know where I should go to find Quetzalcoatluses. I thought maybe I should go first to the red obelisk, and then fly to the green, and then to the blue, and repeat the process in a triangle-shaped pattern across the map. That method would not have worked and doesn't work consistently. This is because we essentially would have cleared out all the spawns in that exact triangle route, and others would have spawned somewhere else on the map that's not on that triangle route, and that's somewhere that we're never going to visit. Have you ever heard someone say that there are particular spots where you need to go on the island to find a Quetzalcoatlus? Unfortunately, that's actually not true. They can be, technically, anywhere. We found a fresh new spawn over at the Dead Island, aka the North Island, aka the Carnivore Island. You unfortunately can't just go to a particular spot to find one. You have to check every inch of the whole map. And here's an example why. Every mark you see on this map is a Quetzalcoatlus I found in the wild. There are many that I didn't put on this map because I started recording the discoveries after finding about 100 or so already. As you can see, there's no specific location that they spawn at. Even if you fly past and miss just one of them, that one bird that you missed will prevent others from spawning. That will greatly reduce the efficiency of your search and will make you spend a lot more time finding them. If your server has a lot of active players, this might change the search dynamic a little. It's because there's a chance that a new Quetzalcoatlus can spawn and then drift away from that position. It might even drift away from your future search path, and you might miss it until you restart the search from the beginning again. Basically, if there are a lot of active players on your server, your search might take a little longer. But you might be able to gain the assistance of your server mates, and they might be able to let you know if they see a Quetzalcoatlus flying over them, and thus making the search easier. So, it depends. How do you find a high-level Quetzalcoatlus? The short answer is to find and kill every Quetzalcoatlus until you find one with the level that you like. The higher the level, the rarer they are. This is due to a game mechanic called level weighing. What the is level weighing? According to the Ark Wiki, level weighing is the probability of a level of a creature will have when it spawns into the game. A high-level animal is usually hard to find because they're extremely rare. To get higher levels, you need to kill a lot of animals. This is a table here shown in the Ark Survival Evolved wiki. The level of dinos shown on the left are the default settings, so difficulty level set to 1. Your server will most likely have a higher setting. So if your max wild dino level is 300 instead of 30, just multiply the level range by 10 to get an example. This shows that most animals out there, 54% of them statistically, are very, very low level. Level 1 to 5 by default, or level 1 to 50 if your max level is 300. Or in our server, because our difficulty level is set to 2, it means level 1 to 10. If your max wild dino level is 300, then most of your dinos out there in the wild, they only range from level 1 to level 50. Only 5.5% of the dinos out there are very high levels, and looking for max level dinos is even more difficult. What this all means is that if you're looking for a relatively high level creature, you statistically need to kill anywhere from 50 to several hundred animals of that one kind before being able to find a max level or close to a max level creature. In my experience, on average, I found one Quetzalcoatlus every 15 minutes to 20 minutes. Because I need to find somewhere around 400 to 500 of them for my project, you can see why this took me several months. How does the respawning mechanics work? At any given time, there are 3 wild Quetzalcoatluses on the map, at least on the island map. This can be verified by conducting a thorough search of the map, and you will end up finding 3, no more and no less. As soon as one of them dies, however, another one spawns to appear somewhere else in the map. Therefore, if you're looking for a high-level animal, you need to keep searching, discovering, and killing every one of them to force the game to respawn more. Kill all of them. Don't leave any behind. Every time the game respawns a new animal of that type, it has either a 54%, 27%, 13.5%, or 5.5% chance of it appearing as each of the level ranges, as mentioned earlier, in level weighing. Food? Why does food matter when searching? So this is probably the most important part of this entire video, so bear with me because I'm going to get into some details. If you get the food part right, it's going to make your search so much more efficient and less distracting. So when searching for a Quetzalcoatlus or other animals, it's very important to bring enough food with you. It is also very important to manage your food consumption as well. The reason is because you and your mount, for example, a pteranodon, will consume a lot of food when searching. Flying around the map, especially while you're sprinting in the air, consumes a lot of stamina points. So when your mount is low on stamina, you go ahead and land somewhere safe. When you're landed, the bird should recharge its stamina in about 15 seconds or so. So stay away from trees and forests if possible, as hidden hostile animals can jump out and suddenly attack you. I have fallen victim to that more than a couple times. So land in an area with good visibility and safety. So when your stamina recharges, the game actually consumes your food points and turns them into stamina. If you don't do this correctly, you can very quickly run out of food even if you bring a lot with you. If you run out of food, it just forces you to go get food, which is interfering with your search and adds more time, which is definitely something we want to avoid. I'll explain how to make your food supplies last more efficiently by going into some game mechanics to avoid things that drain your food more rapidly. On a side note, while recovering your stamina or while healing your HP, normally, if you're lying down on the floor and you're prone, your food points hardly go down at all. There's a food consumption discount while you are prone on the ground. So if you're like running long distance a lot or fighting or otherwise you're empty of stamina, and if it's safe, you can recharge your stamina points by going prone. So if you're prone while the stamina points recharge, then it'll let you conserve your stamina and make your food last a lot, which is especially handy when you're first starting off on a map. Many of you may already know that if you're cold, then your food drains rapidly. I recommend at least wearing a hide gear on your character while searching, and also carry a torch with you if you can, so that you can use it when the weather is especially cold. But did you know that there is a rarely known game mechanic called Constipation that also makes your food drain fast and waste a lot of food? I'm just realizing this is the biggest part of the video. So, what is constipation in Ark? I talk about this because it is very important, and I actually didn't know about this until recently. So, have you ever noticed that sometimes your food icon meter changes colors? Sometimes your food icon, or the food icon of your dino, shown while you're riding them, for example, will turn gray in color, and this is very bad. It means you're losing food points at an accelerated rate. According to the Ark Wiki, constipation is when the food icon becomes gray or pale when the target is in a hidden status of constipated and is ready to poop. When constipated, the player will consume food at a greater rate than normal. Upon pooping, the bar will return to its normal teal color. Therefore, while searching for a Quetzalcoatlus, it's important to frequently check the food icon of the player and the mount, like the pteranodon, and push the defecate button to poop when the food meter becomes gray. If the dino's food meter is gray, just push Z or plus or whatever you have mapped for defecating. If a player food meter is gray, you have to land and dismount first before defecating. If you do not do this, and you're not paying attention to the color of the food meter, the search will require a whole lot more food, and you'll probably run out of food and need to resupply. I know that was a lot of information just covering the topic of food and stamina, but food consumption is very important in the search. You really don't want things like food shortage and things like that to be distracting you and adding more time to the search. What are the things I need to prepare for the search? I recommend using a flying mount, such as a pteranodon. or other flyers. Food for your player and your mount, very important. I use multiple stacks of seed to eat for my own player character. You can put your seed packs in your 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0 slots. I mean, that's what I do. And then you can open your inventory and push and hold those buttons. And then your character will eat all the seeds at once. So it makes it a lot easier. Seeds are light and they're non-perishable and is my preferred food for searches. At least for the player character part. You probably want to bring meat, raw meat and stuff for your Pteranodon. Bring a compass, or if possible, a GPS. This will greatly help you to make sure you're at the correct positions on the map and are traveling in the correct directions. Parachute. I usually carry 2 to 3 parachutes and I put them on my number 4 quick slot in case of emergencies, which absolutely happen. Spyglass. Using a spyglass helps you to identify the level and sex of the Quetzalcoatlus once you find one. You can then decide if you want to kill it to find a better one or to tame it. Bonus points if you can bring transponder nodes and a transponder tracker. Though relatively expensive to make, this can help a lot once you find a Quetzalcoatlus that you want to come back to and tame. You can jump off your mound, stick a transponder tracker on the Quetzalcoatlus, and then hit the parachute button, but it's very risky to do so, so be careful. How to search. Rule number 1 on the search is to ignore drops like supply crates and just stick to the search. Don't get distracted by the supply crates, as you and your mount can get killed while you're going for the loot. Also, collecting loot from supply crates distracts and adds a lot of time to your search, so just don't do it, trust me. Search the entire map without overlapping and without missing any spots. This is where the maximum view distance we talked about earlier comes into play. If the Quetzalcoatlus is too far, we might not be able to see it and might accidentally fly by it without noticing. We will fly and search in a zigzag pattern starting at the top left of the map. Go to settings and make sure your field of view is set to maximum so you can have a wide camera angle. This makes it much easier to find things that are to the side of you. Go to the top left of the map, which is the northwest or coordinates 1010. Fly south until you get to the bottom left of the map, which is at 1090. Move over to the east, to the right, 5 points. Fly north. Move over to the east 5 points, and repeat. If done correctly, on average, you will come across a Quetzalcoatlus once every 15 minutes or so. So you want to fly in a zigzag pattern, starting from coordinates 1010. You fly south, then you fly east, then you fly north, then you fly east, then you fly south, and you repeat until you cover the entire map. And once you're done, return to the top left of the map and just repeat from the beginning. I know this zigzag pattern search is pretty unsophisticated looking, but it took a lot of trial and error to come to the conclusion that this is the simplest and most effective method. I found a Quetzalcoatlus. Now what? Use your spyglass. I usually put my spyglass in the number 6 quick slot. See if the sex and the level of the Quetzalcoatlus is what you're looking for. If you want to tame it, great. If you want to go for something better, then use your mount and attack it. Just kill it and keep looking for more. I recommend just using your Pteranodon or whatever mount you're using to kill the Quetzalcoatlus. I've tried landing, dismounting, and using ranged weapons to shoot them down, but ultimately I think it's faster, easier, and cheaper and safer to just attack with your mount. If you want to tame it later, you can tag it using a transponder node. There are plenty of tutorials on YouTube on how to use transponders, but if you guys would like me to make a video about it, just let me know in the comments. Now that we went over all the searching stuff, I really wanted to do this, and I'm really excited about it. Let's do an old school ARC montage. Okay. Franklin, run program. Let's do this.
Where did you learn what it means to reciprocate? tolerate. So I started to think about the plans I made the day unpaid, and you just can't call a spade a spade. I watched the moon, let it run my mood. Can't stop thinking of you. I watched so long, nice to know you. I'll be moving on. We started off in such a nice place. We were talking the same language. I open and I'm closing. You can't stand the thought of a real beating heart. You'd be holding, having trouble owning and admit that I am hoping. I watched the moon, let it run my mood. Can't stop thinking of you. I watched so long, nice to know you. I'll be moving on, moving always know the truth, but I'm quick to say it too. Yeah, I know the truth. I always know the truth, but I'm quick to say it too.
Conclusion. When searching for a wild Quetzalcoatlus, search in a zigzag pattern and make sure you cover every inch of the map. If any are hiding somewhere you don't go to, it will slow down your search a lot. Be mindful of your food status icon. Carry enough food. Don't land near forests or near areas with dangerous animals. If you find a Quetzalcoatlus that is not to your liking, just kill it, move on, and repeat. You'll eventually find the one you're looking for. If I can do it, you can do it too. Thanks very much for watching. I'm your host, King Dogspeed, and I'll see you next time. Franklin, end program. Okay, I think that was okay.